But if you are for that kind of thing, protecting LGBTQIA, that kind of stuff, $15 minimum wage, and you've been lieutenant governor, why are those things, I know it's not all on you one man, but why are those things not further along? You want a new job as senator, but you have been in a position of power for a while, and you're obviously a strong, powerful voice for these things, but they are not a reality yet.
Yeah, well, one thing, it begins with an R and ends with an S. Can you guess why? Yeah,
do you reach out to them? Is that your style?
All the time.
Because a common criticism of you is that you are a lone wolf, which I can relate to the sentiment. But that is, when I talk to my friends and family and I talk about you, especially in Pittsburgh, they say, well, he goes it alone. You do have your own style. You're 10 feet tall. You're an imposing figure. You can, come off like that. What do you say to that?
I mean, I'm delighted, but I don't know if a Republican says that a gay person is less than me or you, then I reject that. I mean, of course I'm going to go that alone, but right now the reality is Republicans are in control of our legislature, and we can't pass the minimum wage that you talked about. We can't pass the equal protection under the law. And, I could probably beat him in arm wrestling, but that doesn't mean I can get laws passed, and that's the reality. It's like we're arguing about basic humanity here. And I don't think that's really much of an argument, quite frankly. This isn't, I want to spend 300 million on bridges and they want to spend 150 million on bridges. Yeah, let's hug that out and we can work that out. That's compromise. But I will never admit or agree that someone is a less than. I will never pretend that somebody can live and work on $10 an hour and support a family on that. And it's like, why hasn't it happened? Because I don't have a magic wand. I'm not king for a day. But if I were king for a day, I would do all those things, but some things I do go alone because sometimes other people aren't willing to take the right stand on those things. But I always will be.
Yeah,
we will make you king for a day. Go ahead, Gisele. Sorry.
No, I mean, we get a lot of, and I think a lot of people that, follow politics high level, don't really understand that he's actually not a legislator. Like we get a lot of emails like, change the law, John Fetterman, like do it today. And people don't realize he's actually not a legislator, right? He actually can't. And
also how it works too, because like the president can't do these things. The governor can't do these things. It requires cooperation with the Republicans. And unfortunately, there's a majority of them that believe that, you brought up gay rights, that they believe that they are less than and that they do not deserve equal protection under the law. And I will never cede that. I will never cede that. And if that means you don't vote for me or the people that you talk to, then okay, that's fine. But at the end of the day, you'll know where I stand on those things. And I've been on the right side of history on all these issues. And we're going to continue to be, because they're all rooted in compassion and equality. And those concepts are always the right side of history.
And like Amanda said, the non-response from people across the aisle does not equal a failure of another to reach out. Amanda Waldman, thank you. So you're doing your part.
I'm gonna knit that on a pillow,
Amanda, can you get that in a pillow for
John? I want to needle point that on a pillow, like a decorative pillow. Like, exactly. It's not failure. It's just like, I can't.
You can't do it alone.
Yeah, I can't.
And that's why we're asking everyone listening to us now to do your part. John is standing, and we don't want him to be standing alone. He's fighting for things that matters to you and I. And by us sitting there and criticizing or telling him, like Gisele said, pass this legislation. No, it doesn't work like that. You have to vote. You have to read about the person who you're voting for, and you have to follow up. Once they sit in that seat, that doesn't mean your job is over. You need to hold them accountable for everything that they promised, and keep at it. Send letters, rally, do whatever. Bill says many of the Republicans serve as special interest groups instead of the people. That's why nothing is getting accomplished. And that's true. What do you think, John? Is that part of why you're getting resistance?
If I were king for a day, if I were king for a day, it would be legal weed. It would be $50 an hour minimum wage. It would be equal protection. I mean, like, I would do that. But again, that's the way it worked. And Gisele wanted to say something.
Well, I want to say is when I read like the lone wolf comment, like I love that line, because when he was marrying people, he was alone. He was alone. If no one else was willing to do it, when he was fighting against a highway they wanted to build and destroy our community, he was standing alone. So he has stood alone in a lot of these issues. There was no one else there to support him, but it was the right decision. So I'm proud for him to stand alone, because it's on the right side of history.
Oh,
But that's where we come
We're
to,
not
like,
going to let that
2015.
continue. Amanda said, I can make you a painting to hang in the office with that. I think he will take that.
And you know what, since we've had marriage equality in this country, has the world spun off its axis? Like, is there anarchy or whatever? No, and that was the fear. It's like, oh my God, what if we allow people to love who they love? And you know what? Like, it's just what I'm saying. It's just like, and what was heartbreaking about that time in my life is that the people that have been denied this basic right have been together for the longest was 32 years. Like, for 32 years, if they got sick, they couldn't visit them in the hospital. In fact, it got so extreme. There was a case in Western PA where one spouse adopted the other one as their child just so they could enshrine legal protections under families.
Yeah.
That's how sick it was until we finally broke through and won this. And you know what? Every one of these awful people that stood in the way of that, it's like, guess what? The world didn't end. It actually became much more kind and compassionate and pro-family. I mean, how can you be pro-family but anti-gay marriage? It doesn't make any sense to me, because a family is a group of people that are on the same team and love each other. And it's not for me to decide what that looks like. It's just for me to facilitate that everyone has the right to be their own family.
If I loved you guys like this much before, now I'm like, just listening to you. And I'm hoping everyone listening to us now have the same reaction. And Amanda's like speaking like in gold today. She said, promoting John and Gisele Fetterman to the legislature is how we can make change happen. DC need more legislature who will stand up and speak truth to power. Thank you, Amanda.
Well,
on behalf of everyone listening.
Yeah, well, and definitely, we're gonna wait for that needlepoint pillow with their great quote. Yeah, they will, but yeah, it's just this idea, like, the right side of history always wins. It's just a matter of how long it takes us to get there. And if standing alone on something is how it gets done, that's fine, but at the end of the day, I know what I believe to be true, and you will know what I believe to be true. And if that ultimately is enough to earn your vote and support, I'm honored. But if it isn't, you will know that whoever does earn your vote may differ on me and whatever views. But I don't shift my views based on, I never have taken a poll on like, well, what's popular today? Maybe I should. It's like, I'm like, this has always been what I've believed on. And let me tell you, immigration wasn't always popular to run on, but I always have. Legalizing marijuana wasn't always popular, but I have. A living wage was never always popular, but I have. And I'm waiting for one that we've been wrong on, and we have to say, well, geez, man, was I wrong about that $15 an hour minimum wage? It really should have been $11 all along. What was I thinking?